Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world right now, and you just might be, but I appreciate you taking the time to tune in to Shadi Laser Live. And tonight, we have a special guest. And if you listen to the words and the message and the tips and techniques that are presented, you may improve your income. You will definitely be more at peace in alignment with how you're running your business. This is targeted towards entrepreneurs tonight. This is targeted towards people with outstanding side hustles and side projects. This is targeted to superstar senior employees and entrepreneurs who are people who have that great vision and idea. But let's introduce our special guest, Miss Jice Johnson. Please tell them a little bit about your mission and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. So I am a productivity coach, and basically what that means is that I work with people to get their time management on track. And I think that's something that we can all relate to, feeling what the struggle of that looks like, whether we have unmet goals, whether we are struggling with keeping on track, keeping our commitments, whether we're overcommitted, we feel frustrated, overwhelmed. I mean, those are typical feelings that a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners have in relation to seeing a vision for their business, seeing a vision for their family and their life versus what's actually happening today. And so I really dig into working with entrepreneurs along those lines to help them move that needle forward. And this is a passion of mine. I think it really kind of started from me being in the military and having a very structured lifestyle. And when I left the military, working on my own and trying to craft my own schedule was just far more difficult than I think it had been led on to be. And so when we're told about entrepreneurship and the freedom that it brings, a lot of times entrepreneurs who have been in the business for a while kind of chuckle and laugh because it's just not that simple, right? so, so that's kind of where I came in. And the more that I studied this and the more that I was looking into how to fix this for myself, I recognized that almost every entrepreneur that I knew struggled with this in some fashion or form. And so it really became a passion for me to eradicate this from being one of our challenges as we move forward towards our success.
Perfect. Now, you mentioned that you served our country in the military. I'm also a Navy veteran. Now, I don't want to turn this into a reminisce down memory lane of active duty time, but what I want to share with the audience is the following. For those people who are entrepreneurs and maybe lack the structure or maybe lack the discipline, maybe lack the ability to come up with their own processes, what are some of the strengths that the military offers that would help an entrepreneur? So if they were able to take a military vitamin, for example, to use an analogy, what are some skill sets that the military provided you that would help entrepreneurs in their quest to be more organized, more structured, and disciplined?
It's a good question. The first thing that comes to mind is routine, because you have to have a routine in the military. It's almost not an option, right? So I don't know what Navy life looks like, but in Army life, you have to be in uniform, in formation, ready to go. Every morning, it's the same drill over and over. So you're going to get in your PT. You're going to, that's physical training for non-military folks. So basically, you're going to work out. You're going to have breakfast. You're going to get dressed. You have to, clock in at a certain time. And your day is really structured like that, where you may have some flexibility in your work schedule depending on what your job is, but for the most part, it's very structured. At 6:30, it's this time. At 7:30, it's this time. At 8:30, we're doing this. And everyone moves like that as a unit to where it's just ingrained in you. I know people who have gotten out the military and still wake up on military time because it's just ingrained in them at this point. And so routines and rituals and habits are highly effective tools when you are really working towards managing your time better. And I think that that would have to be the one thing that the military is very stringent on, especially the earlier on that you are.
Wow. Now, Jice, let's talk about the most important aspect in many entrepreneurs' lives, which is time, the value of time. In
Yes.
your experience in working with clients and helping them transform and find their inner productivity in running their businesses, where do you feel that entrepreneurs most devalue time or waste the most time in running their business?
Hmm. That's a good question. I feel like it probably varies. It varies per entrepreneur and per interest. Some of the places that I see the most are going to be social media. Email is a huge time waster.
Mm.
And then you have those who are really focused in on community and family endeavors. And so, what's interesting is not always the way that we value our time, but the way our family values our time. And so, if we work for someone, grandma's not going to call you and ask you to leave your job to come pick up her medication. But if you work for yourself, grandma's going to call you because she feels like you're the only one who can stop what you're doing, right? I mean, you're not really working. So because she doesn't value your time, I mean, how do you tell grandma, no, I can't, I can't do that. And so you do have a lot of entrepreneurs who are very family focused, and because of that, get sucked into having all of the extra family responsibilities kind of piled onto their plate in the midst of them trying to work, because the family also doesn't respect their time and they aren't able to place boundaries around themselves. So in order to make the family respect their time.
Excellent. I find that with entrepreneurs, and especially entrepreneurs who are home based, completing tasks can be the toughest discipline that exists, in that you may start off with the best intentions, and once you get started with email and then you go to social media, or you intend to write a chapter of a book or update your website or your LinkedIn profile, but so many distractions get in the way, and it becomes so difficult when you also factor in, as you mentioned, family. I think that's a major point of consideration, that our family, us as entrepreneurs, we need to have the conversation with our family in terms of explaining the impact of what a particular task is, or what a particular evolution or meeting is, in terms of prep time. For example, with this particular interview, if we start at 9 p.m., there's some prep time that needs to happen. We have to get ready. We have to be in the mindset to deliver value to our audience. And that's something that our family members have to understand. That's something that friends have to understand. So it may be deeper than just communication. It may be deeper than productivity. It may be communication that is also a skill that's needed in terms of getting things done. So let's talk about people, and productivity and people. Now, we did touch upon family members, but let's talk about friends who may be not entrepreneurs, or not necessarily understand the entrepreneurial lifestyle. How can that misalignment between friends who may have the best intentions, but they may be extremely distracting towards someone who is on a mission to build their business?
I think that comes back to setting those boundaries for sure, and recognizing our own habits, right? And so if we have a propensity to stop what we're doing to talk to our friend, then one of the things we may need to do is cut off their ability to communicate with us, in particular during our peak work hours. That could be anything from setting a do not disturb timer. That could be shutting off notifications. So there has to be a come to Jesus moment where we say, I love you. I know that you want the best for me. Let me help you give the best to me. Let me separate you in particular, like I said, during our peak work hours. Um, and I think there has to come, there's a point where we have to also realize that sometimes our friends, they may love us, but they really don't mean the best for us. And there's a lot of underlying issues, maybe when it comes to things of jealousy. There may be someone who's known you for forever might look at you and they're not that advocate for you. They know all your skeletons in the closet. They think you can't do this. You know, you don't know what you're talking about. They don't know what you've put in on the back end to really make this, you know, this dream a reality. And they just don't see you as being that type of person because they still remember when you were 11 and 12 years old and what you were doing, you know, back then. So sometimes we still have to recognize that we can always love people. Sometimes that means we have to love them from a distance because we've all heard, you know, that we are accumulation of who are, you know, who we're around, right? Our top 5 people. So if your top 5 people are your homies that aren't backing you up and haven't backed you up in a while, then those can be the top 5 people you're hanging around. So those are tough choices that we have to make. And then that means, how much is my success worth to me?
How much is your success worth to you as an entrepreneur? That is a powerful question. And as you mentioned, we are the summer average of the 5 people that we spend the most time around. And not everyone, number one, has our peak growth as their priority, meaning they're not going to, in some cases, allow you to progress, maybe subconsciously. Maybe they sabotage your efforts in some way. And the interesting thing is our loyalty to many people who we may have a familiarity with, but friendships often are based on helping each other get through a moment in time. So you may have known someone when you were 21, and at, let's say, 31, 41, 51, that individual may have grown to be a completely different person, but that friendship is stuck in that time period. And as you grow and as you evolve, especially as an entrepreneur, you have to continuously keep yourself around people who are supporting your growth, supporting your evolution, because it can be difficult to take the ideas in your mind and bring those to fruition in the world. So
absolutely,
the right mindsets are so important.
Absolutely.
Yes. So,
and that does definitely take some evaluation. It takes some evaluation, and it's not easy, but it is necessary. So,
yes. Audit your
that comes back to the how bad do you really want it?
Yes. Excellent. Let's talk about positive procrastination. Now, this is a term that I came up with, and it basically describes the misconception. Now, in traditional circles, we're taught to self-educate ourselves, to read the books, read Think and Grow Rich, read The Secret, read these books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and attend the conferences, network, join mastermind groups. But what many people or many entrepreneurs mistake as taking action that's supposed to provide a catalyst for building your business, they use it as a placebo effect where the conference is the action, but there is no business growth. Please share your thoughts on the phenomenon known as positive procrastination and how entrepreneurs get it misconstrued, where they attend and they read, but they're not necessarily taking action, and how that affects their productivity and growth as business owners.
Right. So there's that gap. There's the no-do gap, right? And so it's like people who are stuck in this constant cycle of planning. And every time they kind of get to one place in their plan, they've heard a new strategy or new idea, or they've read a new book, or they've attended some new conference that has motivated them in some other way where they want to change course and they're not quite launching. And so that's a sticky one that's easy to get into. And what I found is that One is that people who are kind of stuck in that paradigm do not have a clear vision for what it is that they actually want to accomplish. And so they're taking all of that positivity and that motivation and they're just sucking it in because they don't really have a strong outcome. They don't have a clear end goal in mind. And so if you want to get out of that, you have to spend some time really narrowing down and focusing on your goals. And when you have a clear focus on your outcomes, that's when you're able to actually go in and determine whether or not an opportunity is the right opportunity for you. There are so many great ideas. They're not all the great ideas that are going to lead you to where you need to be. So having that clear outcome defined, written down, which is really key. It's amazing to me how many entrepreneurs don't actually have their goals written down, in particular, in a place where they can see them, like visible on a daily basis. And then when you come across a new idea, you get some motivation, you can actually stop then and say, does this fall in line with this goal that I've outlined for myself? There may be a thing where you might say, okay, we have to stick a pin in it. I mean, you know, this is 2017. We're in the second quarter of 2017. Is this going to fit in what I can realistically do in 2017? If not, maybe I need to implement this in my 2018 strategy. And so it's not always tossing it out altogether. It might be placing it a little bit further down the line. I feel that when we're talking about what the right path to get to our goals is, we need to keep in mind that it's very fluid, but it has to still have some structure so that we can stay on track. If we're just allowing the wind to blow us wherever, every motivational speech, we're like, yeah, I'm going to go that direction, you know, then we have no stability and forward movement in our goals. So fluid enough to change what doesn't work and pivot if something isn't working, but not so fluid that we just go with whatever next great idea has come across our eyes.
Wow. Well put, well said. Let me ask you this. We all know entrepreneurs like this. I'm actually one of them. So let me ask you this productivity question. With online courses, the rate of completion is abysmal. It is less than 20%. So 20% of people who take an online course, less than 20%, actually complete the course. What makes this issue worse is the fact that, like you said, the inspiration to take another course and to pile up all types of courses where nothing actually gets done. What would be your magic productivity tip to actually raise the rate of completion of online courses, just in a general sense, for a client that you would work with?
Wow, that's a very strategic question there. I would say that my first thought is that I always try to limit things kind of like to a 3 to 5 number, because things outside of that it's too much for us. In particular, when we're trying to change a habit or we are trying to learn something new, we can't learn 20 new things at once. So I'm all for keeping a running list of things that you want to learn down the line. But if you're going to have a focus, then the classes that you need to take need to fall in line with those 3 to 5 goals that you were trying to accomplish for this year. If you are working on getting your financial system together, then taking a class on underwater basket weaving, as interesting as that may sound, doesn't fall in line with you actually moving your finances forward. So you need to take a class on tax or accounting or bookkeeping. You might need to take a class on the profit first model, or something along the lines that is actually going to help you move towards your goal and give yourself time to implement that. A lot of the completion rates that you're talking about come from the fact that if you have an online course that is actually worth something and doing something, it's going to have action steps. And those action steps aren't going to be taken while you're sitting right there in front of the computer. So it's going to kind of be hit pause, go and do this, come back, learn step 2. And if we're not taking the time to hit that pause button, we're ending up with all of these lists of, things that I need to do to make this system work or to make this new habit work, but we're not actually implementing them. And so then you kind of get stuck, right? Because what's the point in listening to step 5 when I haven't done step 1? And then now it's like that squirrel, squirrel. Oh, wait, look over here. Let me go and jump on that one. And so you only get past, step 1 or 2 in that one. So a lot of times it's taking the time to actually implement what we're learning before moving on. And sometimes that's simply an accountability and discipline. Maybe you go through the course with someone so that both of you are implementing these things at the same time, and you have someone to kind of make sure that you don't jump.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Great point. Great point. Let me take a second to acknowledge Mr. Genesis Buico, the world's greatest graphic designer and publisher. Genesis, thank you for watching and tuning in. And hopefully these tips on productivity will help you to be great at everything that you do. He is really, really great. So thank you for tuning in, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about mindset. From your observation, not only of your clients who you lead to greatness, but also the top performers, world-class productivity entrepreneurs and business owners, what do you consider to be some of the characteristics? You don't have to lay out a 20-point list, but what some of the top qualities that govern or dictate the mindset of someone who simply gets things done within their business?
Mm-hmm. I would say that has to be definitely focus is one. They really want it. They really want it. And so because of that, it's not as easy to distract them. But I would also say that maybe failure, the ability to handle failure in a different way. One of the things that stops us from moving forward a lot of times is our fear of failure, and or our fear of success. We talk about a little less, but is also very real. And what I've noticed about people who are really successful is they don't really have those fears as much. And so they educate themselves in what they're trying to do, but they also don't strive for perfection. So they would rather get something going than try and perfect it and not have anything moving forward at all, because they're afraid it's not, going to be the perfect end product. And to that end, they also kind of understand that, hey, if this is my first time at this rodeo, that I'll get better as I go. So I think that's something that stalls out quite a few people, is the idea that it's not perfect. And so they get kind of stuck in that planning rotation, going back, trying to perfect something instead of launching and giving themselves the opportunity to mess up, and realizing that failure is part of the process. So instead of embracing when something doesn't go perfect and taking the time to assess that so they can make improvements, they would rather not have those mess ups at all and just stay clear of having those mistakes or failures or whatever you want to call them. So people who are really making things happen, they will make it happen whether or not they feel like they have it perfected or not.
Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have covered quite a bit. We've run the gamut of productivity. We've discussed some of the characteristics that the military can instill into your productivity mindset. We've discussed the value of time and how entrepreneurs devalue their time either knowingly or unknowingly. We've discussed people and how even people with the best intentions can derail our entrepreneurial efforts, and people who have known us all of our lives cannot make the adjustment with us from who we were to what we are growing to be. We've covered the phenomenon known as positive procrastination, which is doing good things that should lead to action, but often leave people spinning in place in terms of, I've attended the conference, I've read the book, I have the library, but nothing is getting done. And Jice has covered a great point on mindset and from her observation and perspective, the main characteristics and qualities of championship productivity, aka the ability to get things done in your business. Now, Jace, I'm a
Yes.
big believer in you've given the people so much value. I want you to outline how anyone watching this broadcast who is a rock star in terms of their creative aspects or their individual genius, what they were God given and born to do, but may
Mhm.
lack the structure, the productivity, and the systems needed to get to the next level and build their business, and how you can support them in that effort. You have the
Absolutely.
floor.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So I have an organization called Your Productive Biz. And you can sign up for a free discovery session with me where we can really walk through what your pain points are, and get a solid understanding for some of the underlying issues. I'm very big on not wanting to place a band-aid over a situation. And so a lot of the times when we're looking at these DIYs, how can I create something that will work for myself? The number one issue that we're facing is that we still haven't addressed what's causing us to fall into these poor habits in the first place. So, working with me, we will dig a little deeper. We will address what are the root issues that are causing us to have these problems with managing our time and managing our productivity. And from there, we can then begin to put the tools and the systems in place that will help you move forward. So I usually like to start with the discovery session just to make sure that I am the right fit for you, or you're the right fit for me. And you can schedule a discovery session right from my website.
Please tell them your website.
Absolutely. It is Your Productive Biz, BIZ, yourproductivebiz.com.
Ah, excellent. So let's up the ante here for those who are watching this broadcast and who will be watching this broadcast on demand, because this will go out everywhere. So if you contact Jice Johnson at yourproductivebiz.com and you schedule that strategy session and you take the next step forward, what I will add in for you is my ruthless time analysis template. Now, the ruthless time analysis template is based on my discussions with millionaires and billionaires, and my analysis of time is a 24-hour worksheet that aligns your goals with how you're spending your time. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are an entrepreneur and you're serious about your path, if you look at how you're spending your time each and every day in relation to your goals, it would sicken you if you are serious about your goals. So not only will you get to work with Jice and get to the root of your productivity issues and have direct support in setting up your systems, your processes, your mindset to succeed, but I'll also give you a template that you can utilize every single day of your life to analyze where you're going wrong so that you can take it to Jice and she can fix it. It's the perfect peanut butter and jelly deal. So I need you to go
Absolutely.
to Your Productive Biz, that is BIZ, Z like zebra.com, and schedule that strategy session today. And 2017 is not over, it's still going strong. So I need you to commit to building your business. Businesses are not built in a silo, they're not built on islands. It takes teamwork, it takes accountability, it takes coaches, it takes mentors, it takes the right mindset to push you forward. And you need to be in alignment with teams and networks to help you get to the next step. And Jice Johnson at Your Productive Biz will do exactly that. Any closing remarks for the people who have tuned into the broadcast and will watch on demand?
Yeah. So first, just thank you again for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out, or us reaching out to each other. That was great. Um, but I'm just excited. My passions are to help small businesses. I do this every day, all day, and so anyone who is really wanting to take their business to the next level, I am here to help you get your time in order, and make sure that you are actually hitting your goals. So I appreciate it.
Invest in yourself, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another insightful, delightful episode of Eleazer Live. I thank you. It's been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to share the airwaves with you, ladies and gentlemen. Watch the broadcast on demand. The link to Your Productive Biz will be in the description, as well as the Ruthless Time Analysis worksheet once you contact Jice and get things started. Jice Johnson, Your Productive Biz. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Over and out.